AITA for not giving my parents their son back. When I 26 meters, was 20 years old, my mum and dad had a 1-year-old son Eddie. They were struggling in their marriage and had been for years. They thought having another baby would magically fix things, but they were wrong, as it just caused more problems and strained their finances. They were in over their heads and decided go give Eddie up for adoption. I begged them not to, but they had made up their minds. Social workers asked other family members if anyone would like to take Eddie. Both my older brothers refused and my grandparents were too old, so I took my brother in. This royally annoyed my parents and I was threatened with disownment, but I didn't care as I already had a place of my own with an ex at that time. My folks lost their paternal rights and I legally adopted my brother, and I love him so much and was proud to be his daddy. My brothers didn't approve of me adopting him, but I didn't care as they had never met him even when he was still with my parents. My grandparents helped me out a lot and were great. Unfortunately, they have both passed since then and left me what money they had left to raise my bro. My folks and siblings were pissed, but my aunt and uncles didn't care and thought it was best. At family events over the years, my folks would be uncomfortable when I'd show up with Eddie, but within the last year they had seemed to warm up a tad, and I figured they themselves wanted to act more like grandparents as he is legally my son. During the last few months, however, I've noticed my parents and brothers try and talk to Eddie on their own about if he knows who his mummy and daddy is. He says I'm daddy, and usually I walk in and scold them before the conversation can go much further than that. I've yet to tell him the truth, and I know I have to one day, but I don't think now is the right time, and even if it was, I should be the one to tell him. The other day I caught my mum trying to talk to Eddie about this again when she was visiting me, Ed and my current partner. I asked my BF to take Eddie out for a bit where me and my mum got into an argument. She thinks I'm being a terrible parent and that it's time she and my dad take Eddie back. I told her that there is no way I'm letting that happen, so I kicked her out. Now my parents are threatening to sue for custody and my brothers agree, while aunts and uncles say they support me no matter what. So AITA, edit, whoa, I expected a few replies, at least not this many. I have decided that I'm going to tell him tomorrow. Have Amy and him day and explain it the best I can and answer what I can. Edit 2, okay, so I told him, it's half term here in the UK, so he didn't have school. Around lunchtime I took him to get his favorite food. We then went for a walk in the park talking about family and stuff. Eventually we sat down and I told him about how I adopted him, but I'm still daddy and that I still loved him, but then I explained how I came to look after him. It's fair to say he didn't understand some things and has been a bit quieter than usual, but he cuddled up to me while I was watching a film I loved when I was a kid and said I love you daddy when I put him to bed. I'm feeling better and I hope he does too. To say it's been an emotional day is an understatement. NTA, he's legally your son, and you're the best for him. Would start reconsidering having your parents over. Also, start considering, maybe consulting with professionals, the best way to handle questions he might start to ask within the next few years, either because your parents say something, or in general. Consider going low contact. Can sue if they want, but they fucked up when they put him up for adoption, so they aren't going to win this fight. Where I'm from, not USA, judges have zero patience with people who want to turn a kid's life upside down after such a situation. If that is the same over where you are, I think unless the kid is in serious danger at your place, you shouldn't worry. Now my parents are threatening to sue for custody. Let them try. From your story, you legally adopted the kid, they have no rights. NTA, I'm guessing the court would sooner take Eddie from OP, not that there's cause, and give him to strangers than give him back to the family that already abandoned him once before. NTA, why are these people still in your life? Your son is not an accessory that they can pick up and drop off whenever they feel like it. The only way they would be worthy of taking in Eddie would be if they loved him and cared about his best interests. But if they loved him and cared about his best interests, then they wouldn't be trying to rip him away from the only father he has ever known. That would be so unbelievably confusing for him. Plus, let's face it, it probably wouldn't stick. Also, if they were good parents, they wouldn't be trying to do this to you, their son, who did something so incredibly mature and caring 6 years ago. I don't know why your brothers also suck so much, but clearly you should keep your aunts and uncles and ditch the rest of them. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's about time we take our son back as soon as the grandparents died and left the inheritance to the kid they abandoned. They don't want the kid, they want the kid's piggy bank. AITA for telling my husband that I'll never invite his family again after he said I embarrassed him with my cooking. Title sounds horrible, but hear me out please. So, my 35F husband's 37M family recently moved to our town to live close to us and my brother-in-law who got married a few months ago. My in-laws like to gather twice a month for dinner and they'd have me and my husband visit, 3 hours drive, once a month. My mother-in-law wouldn't accept any excuses that I work and have kids to take care of. She always wants the family gathered at her house. Last week, while we were visiting their new house, my husband made me spend X money for a gift that he didn't help with. Also had me carry boxes to help them move stuff into their house while my brother-in-law's new wife sat on the couch and was served with coffee and sweets. He told them that he wanted to invite them over for dinner the next day and he didn't even consult with me first, so I had to take the day off so I could prepare meals. I made the main dishes, appetizers, salad and pound cake. They arrived at 7 p.m. Mother-in-law, brother-in-law's wife didn't move a finger. They were busy criticizing my table setting and giving advice. I put dinner on the table and my mother-in-law started asking why I used X ingredient instead of X ingredient, saying that she would have liked it. Then said that the salad was not necessary because no one liked this type of salad. My husband just agreed with her, telling me why I didn't do it this way or that way. I was getting mad and lost my appetite. Mother-in-law said the pound cake was not complete and didn't look delicious. My husband told her that he wanted to get one from the bakery but I didn't allow him. The cake stayed the same while they ate what brother-in-law's wife brought and flattered her. After they left, I told my husband that his mom was being rude and mean to me the whole time, that he should have stopped her instead of agreeing with her. He said that he didn't defend me because I was in the wrong and what I cooked was not so great and that I embarrassed him in front of his family after having them try my cooking for the first time. I got mad at him and told him I will no longer invite his family for dinners and he didn't like that since he told his mom that we will regularly invite them for dinner. He called me too sensitive and that I should just focus on cooking what they like instead. He thinks I'm overreacting but I'm so angry and feel like I've been insulted and disrespected in my own house. NTA. Your husband and his family are way out of line. The fact that your husband just orders you around and expects you to comply several times in this story is especially worrying. Yeah, I need to take care of cleaning and the kids and he does help, but he thinks that I should do more house chores than him since he works. I too work as much as he does and I need time to rest. NTA. What good qualities does your husband have to balance out how terribly he treats you in relation to his family? I'd really be curious to hear a response to this question too. We read so many posts by people married to or dating assholes. Why stay? I had to take the day off so I could prepare meals. Why did you do this? He disrespected you. Let him flounder. In fact, stop cooking for him and his family entirely. They don't deserve you. Cook food you like and ignore them. I tried doing all I can to be civil with them but clearly they don't deserve it, so I don't care anymore since it won't make any difference. My husband can go visit them but I'm done after they pull this type of nonsense in my own house. AITA for refusing to let my mom see my 2-month-old daughter after she disowned me. I am 27, met my now wife, F35, who was a single parent with 3 kids. She was 8 years older than me and we met when I came home. We started dating, I met her kids and they seemed so sweet and we got along pretty well and I felt relieved because I was worrying too much my stepkids wouldn't like me, but I'm grateful to have met them and their mother. My mom went crazy when I told her. She started arguing a lot, telling me that marrying a single mother who's older than me wasn't going to happen. She got the whole family to agree with her. her and tried pressuring me into going out with someone from the church who's nearly the same age as me. I got fed up with this and I left after I told her no and that I was going to get married to my now wife with or without their approval. My mom casually sent me a text the next day that she and the entire family disowned me and that I will never be allowed to come home after that. Then everyone blocked me and refused to talk to me. My wife and I got married 2 months after I left home. We've now been married for 2 years and we have a 2-month-old baby girl. She's the only girl with 3 boys, so she was a sweet new addition to our family. Last week, I started receiving calls from a number that I didn't recognize till I found out it was my mom. She knew that my wife and I had a baby girl and wanted to see her, saying that my daughter is her grandbaby that she has a biological connection to. I spoke with my friend who admitted telling my family about our newborn and how the whole family was excited to meet her. My sister reached out to me after I refused to let my mom visit and told me that I was being cruel and unfair to her for not wanting her to see her grandbaby. She told me that I shouldn't forget that my daughter is family and that will never change no matter what. I got mad. I just couldn't help but get mad and argue with her because everyone sided with my mom who disowned me and told me to not come home ever again. And now they think I'd allow my mom to see my daughter because she is family to her. They tried to set up a meeting twice but I refused. They're calling me cruel and using my daughter to get back at my mom for personal issues we had before, completely forgetting what she did to prevent me from being with my wife. NTA, you weren't family when your mother decided to disown you. Why is she family now? Also, what she did to you was horrible. Your daughter should not be exposed to her. NTA, your mother disowned you and organized the rest of the family against you to try to prevent you from being with your wife. You don't owe her or them anything. Saying that my daughter is her grandbaby that she has a biological connection to. Funny how she wasn't concerned about her even more direct biological connection to you, her own son, when she decided to disown you. She told me that I shouldn't forget that my daughter is family and that will never change no matter what. Being family doesn't make you less of an asshole. Also, if being family never changes no matter what, why did she decide to disown you? You can't have this both ways. Note, I personally don't think being family creates an unbreakable bond. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. This is one of those cases where you reap what you sow. Your mother did this to herself. She has no right to try to blame anyone else. Exactly. She's just using this to guilt trip me into letting her see my daughter. I doubt she even wants a relationship with my wife and stepkids. NTA. After they've made it up in terms of changing their behavior and genuinely apologizing, etc., you decide to re-establish a connection. That would be one thing. But they've repeatedly shown that they have no respect for you, or your wife, your boundaries, or your life choices. Block their numbers, put the leak friend on standby, and move on with your life. Congrats on your baby. You're right, and I haven't even been able to discuss this properly with my wife because of them constantly pressuring me and act like my daughter isn't my wife's as well. So she gets a say too. I'm just tired of all this negativity and selfishness and doing only what suits them.